BBN, what's good, guys? This is the Loyal BBN Fan Show, and I am happy to come back to you guys today with a special edition of recruiting updates and news. Look, Coach Pope has a lot of stuff on his plate right now, and one of the things that he's dealing with, I don't necessarily want to call it a problem, but something that he is definitely trying to knock out the box in his first year. Going into next year is recruiting. Currently, he still doesn't have any prime time or any big time 5-star commits that has already committed. So with that being said, I'm going to bring in JC, who is definitely going to talk to us about recruiting. He keeps up with recruiting all the time, and I'm very very happy to have him on. So hey guys, let's just welcome JC to the show. JC, how you doing today, man?
Oh, I'm doing all right, buddy. I'm just following everything about Jeremiah Fears.
Okay. Well, okay. So we're gonna be talking about Fears tonight, Moreno and Jasper tonight. So
Yeah.
it seems to be that um, the biggest thing right now is Fears and what's he going to do. Considering I think he's going to reclassify to this class. So what's going on with Fears?
Well, there's been some new buzz about Fears that's got me a little worried. People were talking today about maybe him going back to Illinois because they have one scholarship open, and his recruiting looked like it was going to heat up fast because as soon as he decommitted from Illinois, he got a call from Kentucky. So it looked like it was going to be a fast recruitment. But over the weekend, he posted on his Twitter just a picture of the USC logo. So I don't know if that means anything or if that's some kind of cryptic message. I still like our
Okay.
shots with him, but we're going to have to change our recruiting style if we want him because Mark Pope does not promise minutes and stuff. So he might have to change things up a little bit. But the big thing with Jeremiah Fears that I don't know if a lot of people know is that he's actually good friends with Jasper Johnson. So I think that's what Pope is doing. He's trying to recruit a 2-for-1 right here. Trying to recruit Fears for this year and see if Jasper would be more inclined to come.
You know it's amazing how just getting one player could change a lot of stuff down the road. And as you said, if he can get Fears for this year, what does that do for next year? As far as especially a player like Jasper, once he sees that someone else that he knows personally has actually went and actually played for Pope, and he'll be able to get that inside scope as far as what it's like to play in. Um, when you say USC, are we talking about Southern California, correct?
Yeah, where Muschamp is.
Okay. Oh wow, that is right. He is the coach out there now. I completely forgot about that as well. That he had actually went out there. He changed out. Well, I guess so because otherwise Cal wouldn't be at Arkansas.
Uh,
So I guess that is Cal recruiting Fears too?
uh, he was, but he doesn't appear to be in the running anymore. The big competition Arkansas is going to give us is with the Boozer twins.
Okay.
I I'm gonna think that probably both boozers are gonna commit to Arkansas.
They
But
they actually earlier when Coach Pope just took over for the Wildcats. They of course they made a comment. We don't know Coach Pope, but we would love to hear from him. Do you think Coach Pope is putting a lot of effort into maybe trying to get those guys?
I'll be honest. I don't know. I think he's going after Moreno hardest, and that's one thing that I think he's trying to do is get the dominoes falling. If you get Fears, you can get Johnson, and if you can get Jasper Johnson, you can get Moreno. I think so. He's trying to parlay. I think.
It's, it sounds like he's throwing everything into the pot at once.
Oh yeah. And Fears is a unique player, so we really would like to have him. If you've not seen him play, go and look him up, people.
So I have a question with Fears. What do you what do you think Fears is asking, maybe asking for, that may just kind of make it a little difficult for Pope to try to really get him, because Pope's not gonna he's not gonna promise anybody anything. So
Right.
like, what is he asking for? Do you have any idea?
My guess is the word is since Illinois got back in the picture is that he might just be looking for a big bag. So I don't know if how much money we would offer him because I don't know how much money we dished out on Jackson Robinson.
Okay. What about the playing time? Is do Could you
Yeah,
imagine a world where
Pope's.
he's asking for at least 20-25 minutes a game?
Yeah, I would imagine realistically looking at our team, he could get 20 minutes a game with the way Pope plays. So I think that Pope could promise him that, but I don't know if he's going to because he
Okay.
doesn't do that. That's one of the reasons, from what I understand, why Will Riley didn't commit here is he wanted promises of playing time.
Okay. And he actually ended up in Illinois as well. Um,
Yeah, I don't know why Illinois has become this hot spot all of a sudden.
is that the new UConn?
Uh, I don't know, man. I like their coach Underwood, but they seem to choke quite a bit.
What's all the hype about kids going to Illinois right now? Is it
I don't know. I think it's just Underwood, their coach, and they've been more relevant. But to me, I mean, I watched them in the tournament last year. They didn't look that great.
he could have played in the SEC, man. That could have been big.
Uh, but yeah, Pope is actually in Turkey right now, recruiting some of the bigger guys we're going after that I don't know if we'll have a shot to be able to get, like AJ Debantka.
I want to ask you a question. We got we got we got Perry, we got Trent. We're trying to get Jasper. We're trying to get Moreno. Do you think there's obligations of just like this? We're not telling you to as a fan base, but we're saying go get as many Kentucky kids as you can. Do you think he feels any pressure that, I mean, and don't get me wrong, it's not like Jasper is not good. It's not like Marino is not good. It's not like Trent is not good and Perry. But do you feel that he may have a little pressure on his he might have a little pressure on his shoulders to go and get as many guys from Kentucky as he possibly can?
Well, I feel like when it comes to Jasper Johnson and Moreno, that he has to get them because I think they're going to be the first dominoes that have to fall because they are too good and to be from Kentucky to let slip through your fingers. Usually, players
Okay.
from Kentucky aren't as talented as Johnson and Moreno, so the pressure is on for sure.
Okay. I mean, so because I sit here and I sometimes wonder how that looks to have, it could be a possibility to have four guys that's from the state of Kentucky that's actually on the floor starting at the same time. In a world like that, I mean, it would just, I know that would, especially for the fans, I know that would thrill those guys a lot, to be able to see that. So I often wonder, even as a fan myself, is how much pressure is on Pope to go get these guys and keep now. And like I said, I know these guys are great. These guys can play ball, um, but I'm just curious on, because I mean, if we was to get both of them guys and they was next year's class, then I mean, you're looking at four in-state guys who are on the roster next year. So I'm just trying to figure out, um, if that's something that he feel like that he has to go do just so he can keep the fan base happy, or if he's really like, we need these guys like 100%.
I think it's a must get Jasper Johnson and Moreno. So I think that if he can get Fears, dominoes will start falling.
Okay.
Kind of like what happened with Amari Williams. We got Amari Williams and we started racking up recruits like crazy in the portal. I think you
Okay.
might see the same thing happen.
This, this is the I think this is what everyone's really sat back really watching like closely, and I think that everyone's really excited about the team this year, what Coach Pope has did. But I think everyone is still. I think there's still people off to the side is saying, okay, what can he do really when it comes to big time recruiting? And I think because he hasn't been able to get anyone yet, and we was kind of hoping that maybe Jasper, when he came on the KSR, we was kind of hoping that maybe that was going to be the day that he committed, but he didn't, which is rare when someone comes online. I mean, on KSR, they usually come on there to commit, and everyone kind of thought that that was going to be the day. But since he didn't, and it gave maybe not only himself but other players maybe a moment of pause of like saying, okay, what's keeping him from committing and staying in state for and playing for Coach Pope. So when other
Exactly.
recruits see that, they may actually look at it and be like, well, let's
Hold
just hold off
off.
for a little bit and let's just see what's going on.
I think the magic number is he needs to get to at least 20 wins this season, which I think he can do.
Okay, can you say that again? You said 20
I think he
wins.
needs to get to about 20 wins this season, which is
Okay.
very possible.
Oh, it's very possible for us to get 20 wins this year. Yeah.
But one thing I was going to bring up was is if Pope talked to this team, I'm sure this team would not mind to have a guy like Fears on the team because we've got a bunch of fifth year super seniors that are going to be leaving that could be great role models for Jeremiah Fears, like Lamont Butler.
Yeah. And
And
you would think
another interest,
you would think
another interesting,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
another interesting thing was Fears is getting recruited by Providence and Oklahoma too, I believe, and he's not said a word about them. So the fact that he's even mentioned us is a good sign.
Well, I think one thing about this recruiting thing is in really, I mean, really into a young man or lady or whoever. I think until they officially sign with a school and with the way pieces are moving with NIL, I think NIL keeps a lot of NIL keeps a lot of teams in play just because of we can offer you, we might come in at the 13th hour and say, okay, they gave you $1 million, we give you 1.5. And that can give a player a moment of pause of like, okay, I can get extra money if I go to this school. And so I think until a recruit truly signs and really says, okay, I'm locked in on this school, I'm not going anywhere. I think recruiting, it just stays open until the person's on campus and ready to play ball. And I think that's the biggest thing about recruiting now. I think NIL has changed recruiting, not just a transfer portal, but I think recruiting has definitely changed recruiting for that aspect. Is I might have you commit today, but I might come over here tomorrow and offer you a lot more money, and then you might change your mind. So, and then we'll get the text of respect my decision.
Uh, yeah, it's kind of like free agency in the NBA with NIL
That's
now.
exactly what it is. Yeah. So, for Moreno, what's going on with him? How's his recruiting going?
We from what I understand, we've had Moreno as a pretty high value target that we've been going after, but his recruitment has kind of gone cold. Like Fears, him and Fears, I'm guessing, are just kind of waiting around, see who commits first.
Who else is Moreno actually looking at? Does he have? Is there like a 1A or 1B or something like that?
Uh, I think Louisville, maybe. Let me let me double check that.
Okay. Well, we definitely got to win that battle then. If you throw Louisville in there,
Yes.
I can understand
Notre
Louisville want to
Dame,
keep guys in
Arkansas.
state too as well too.
I tell you who's becoming a big problem is Ohio State. Notre Dame, Arkansas, Ohio State, Kentucky, and Indiana, and North Carolina, Iowa, and Louisville.
Okay. And this is all for
I think,
Marino, correct?
yeah, I think it'll be either us or Louisville. So we have to win that battle.
Is there any is there are there any indications of him wanting to stay somewhere in state rather than going out?
I've not heard anything. Now with him, what's interesting is Braylon Mullins. I think him and Braylon Mullins played together on the Indiana Heat. So Braylon Mullins, if he commits, I think you'll see Moreno commit.
Is he leaning towards Louisville or a school like that?
Braylon Mullins, uh,
Yeah.
he was talking up Kentucky a couple weeks ago
Okay.
because
That
it
would
looked
be, I
like
tell you, man.
he
Go
would be
ahead.
really nice to get. He's got a great jump shot. He'd be super nice in Mark Pope's system.
Okay. How's his recruitment with Coach Pope?
Uh, a lot of people are thinking he's going to go to Indiana, to be honest with you, but I don't know.
Man,
It's going to be either
I tell you,
Indiana or
man,
Purdue.
this recruiting, man, is I applaud people like yourself who keep up with recruiting this much. It's so many moving pieces all the time, and it's like it never stops. And a team can be in the running today, can be the front runner, and then you wake up the next morning and be like, yeah, well, so and so just got into the mix, and it could be really serious. And so for yourself that keeps up with recruiting as much as it does, um, man, it's amazing. So out of the three, which one ends up out of Marino, Fears, and Jasper? Which one ends up at Kentucky? Which one or which ones end up at Kentucky?
Um, I'm not sure about Fears, but I really think Pope is going to pull off getting Moreno and Jasper Johnson. I got faith. So
you,
I think
you
he'll
know,
get two Kentucky kids.
okay. Well, that's awesome, man. Because I know North Carolina's in the mix for, I know North Carolina's in the mix for Jasper. So I heard he really likes it there. So I mean, to be able to go down there and get a win or get a recruiting win over North Carolina would be big too. They're still in the ACC, so we don't necessarily have to play them unless we have to play them in like an off season game or whatever. But um, a non conference game. So that'll be interesting to see if we can go down there and win the battle. I think this year is definitely at the end of the day. If we don't have anyone in that has committed by December or whatever you want to say, I think just the way that we play ball this year and just seeing the results of what Coach Pope can do and what he is as a coach, I think that's going to be to me like that's going to be the biggest factor. And I think no matter what he tells recruits, until they actually see him doing it, see him out there on the court that can win ball games and win big ball games. To me, I think that's the deciding factor on where some of these kids are going to go. With the addition of NIL and how many minutes can I get, and if I'm going with other superstars, how am I going to fit in and all that kind of stuff. But I think it all comes down to how can he coach and can he win ball games and some big ball games. And I think at the end of the day, that's when we can start seeing more recruits maybe deciding that okay, I want to play for this guy because I like what he's doing.
Right. I think, I believe the signing period is in November, isn't it?
Is that the signing period in November?
I thought it was. I'm just going off the top of my head.
Okay. Well, hey, we wish the signing period was tomorrow, so we can get these guys to commit.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm ready to get some guys locked up and not have to worry about it.
Yeah, this is a lot, man. I mean, like I tell you guys all the time, man. I've never really just dug into recruiting because it's such a it's you got basketball, then you got recruiting, and that's a big part of it, major part of it itself, and once and I know when Coach Pope built his team out this year, I know he got away and probably slept for like 3, 4, 5 days because it's so exhausting. So I never really put as far as I always left it up to people like yourself to follow recruiting, and hope you guys can give me some inside tips or whatever, or as far as what's going on with the Wildcats. So, anything else you need to add about these players before we get off?
No, sir. That seems to be about the extent of the updates right now. So we're just waiting on fears, really.
Okay. UK fans are waiting to see what Fears is going to do. So,
Yeah.
so
So
we
pray
definitely
to
got
the
our
basketball
ears to the
gods.
ground. We're definitely going to pay attention to what's going on and try to see if we can get him to. Well, let's see what happens. And that's the thing with recruiting. You, as a coach, you exert so much energy on certain players, and then you don't get them, and then you're right back to. But I guess that's why you got to go out and recruit 50 guys, because you understand that you only got a chance to get maybe one or two of them. So I guess you just got to have something in your back pocket just in case.
I think that's what he's doing. He's gone after quite a few guys. Like he's looking at Chris Sinak too, but he's
Okay,
playing in Turkey right now, which is
is
where
is that a reason why
Pope is
maybe
in.
Coach Pope is over there?
Yeah, he's in Turkey. I think he's watching AJ Dabansta.
Okay,
So, in my opinion, AJ is the best player in this class. But it, after he moved to Utah, I'm afraid he's going to stay on the West Coast or go to BYU or USC or something like that. Is what it's looking like.
okay. See, it's just so many
So a
kids
lot
out
of
there, and it's
moving
just so many,
pieces.
it's just so many different routes to go. It's crazy.
There's a lot of moving pieces to keep track of.
A lot of moving pieces. You gotta have a notebook probably this thick. You gotta have you gotta have a autobiography of of all the players or whatever. You gotta have a Wikipedia of all the players that's being recruited, and it's a lot to keep up with. So I'm I'm too old to keep up with it that much, and but it's good to have people like yourself that can come on and actually just kind of let us know what's going on, and just kind of keep us updated, because everyone wants to know who's coming to Kentucky next. Even though we got a good team, they still want to know, okay, what's going to happen next
Who's
year?
next?
Who are we getting?
It's always who's next here at Kentucky. That's why we're different.
It is, yeah. I mean, some teams are already happy just to be, just to be with the team that they are right now. But Kentucky, we're like, okay, good. We got what we got right now. What's next? You know what I'm saying? We haven't even played a game yet. So
Exactly.
so that goes a long way, of course. So, well, hey JC, hey man, I thank you for actually having the time to come on and talk to us about recruiting. I appreciate that, and I know that we can always rely on you to come with the latest and best information on these recruits. So, so definitely we definitely will keep our ears out and looking, or listening to see what's going on in the recruiting world, and people like yourself help us keep up with it. So I appreciate you taking the time to come on with us again today.
Oh, it's not a problem, buddy. Let me know anytime.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And guys, don't forget to like and subscribe the video if you haven't already. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. It means a lot for me. Like the video, leave your comments down below on who you feel will be the first domino to fall here at Kentucky for recruiting for Coach Pope next year. And until next time.